Welcome back to the Legal Terms Podcast. Me, SamPawson, joined as ever by Nils in person today. How are we, Nils?
Very good, Sam. You?
Good, yeah. We're both kind of still a bit achy from the 10K on Sunday, which was great. And we're both moaning about age and getting old. But no, really good day. Loads of colleagues doing it, so it was a wonderful day.
I was some way off a PB, let's put it like that. But yeah, really enjoyed it. It was very hot, actually.
It was.
It was a good run. Yeah.
Updates as usual. I think you are continuing on a bit of AI, so your updates first.
Yeah, I saw some news, local news down in Sussex, that the police are actually using AI technology to detect whether people have seatbelts on or not.
Wow.
And I won't discuss the case because I think it's still live, but an individual's actually been caught twice. So AI, I thought was creeping into policing. When I've looked at it, it just isn't creeping. It's coming with a huge bang. And actually, there's a government publication that I came across on the 10th of June. Police AI with the objective to speed up investigations and fight crime. The headline: officers will spend less time behind their desks and more time protecting their communities. The numbers are absolutely staggering. So the government has launched Police AI. It's a new national centre, and it is involved in the development, piloting and scaling of artificial intelligence in policing. Even at this early stage, really significant numbers, £75 million investment over 3 years, and it's going to work across all aspects of police work. So some of the early results, as I say, quite staggering. So 800 hours of footage in a kidnap case. Obviously a minimum of 800 to watch through it, reviewed in 3 hours. That ended up in an early guilty plea. 500,000 ebooks of data translated instantly, leading to the arrest of a serious organised crime gang. And that's just the start. So the police anticipate £140 million in investment over the next 3 years, 40 more live facial recognition units, tripling current capacity, and then the government announcement goes on to talk in some considerable depth. You'll see all of this in terms of where they hope this ends, where policing is going to end up. As we discussed last week, hugely significant. It's going to start with seatbelt, this type of thing. Hopefully, this improves the system. We were discussing last week our scepticism, perhaps, that it might improve the system. This looks really significant to me, and it's good to see technology being embraced by police forces.
I think absolutely, just the volume, and that's, I think both for our experience, AI from a legal profession, AI deals with volume very well. I think the concerns, as we said last week, is if there is an error, and it's where is the human checking this?
Yeah,
especially when we're looking at documents. If there is a summary, if there's something missed, if there's something relied on that then causes, some invalidation in that finding, does that bring the whole thing to a halt? And that's always a challenge. But through all of the issues we've talked about in terms of delays in justice, I think this can only help. Cases actually being brought properly by the police investigator, who leads to earlier prosecutions. The CPS. Yeah. Generally positive, but as always comes with some caution, I guess.
Yeah, and to deliberately play devil's advocate, what I've seen in the press is, I didn't do this. AI caught me, I didn't do it. So is that clogging things up more than perhaps previously? But I suspect it's going to have a real impact, and it'll obviously feed through to lawyers as well.
So no, really, really positive case. I'm going to do a bit of a hybrid, Nils. We talked kind of off air. It's a really good case. It's actually come out, reported this week, that kind of covers some ground that we've both talked about over the last few months on the pod, with skilled workers visas, but it's actually an employment claim. So the claims, Sharjah and Swan Care Solutions. I'll give you a really brief background, but I wanted to pick out really the findings in terms of backing up some of the things we've said, which are always good to see. So claimant in this case, skilled worker, came over from Kerala in India on a skilled workers visa, paid agents, not particularly relevant for the paid agents, 17K to process his obviously visa and coming over to the UK. Employed by Swan Care Solutions as a care worker supporting adults with learning difficulties, as we've talked on the pod, a subject close to both in practice and personally. Obtains a certificate of sponsorship which for a role to start in February 2020. But that sponsorship included obviously name, details, but also that he would be employed from February 2023, working 40 hours a week with a gross salary of £22,000, £880 per annum. We've talked about how we wouldn't be seeing salaries of that nature anymore, but obviously in 2023 we still were. Quite technical facts of the case then in terms of what happens, but the shortened version is there were delays in essence onboarding claimant at work. There were checks, induction processes that weren't done, and there was then silence from the employer about actually starting the claimant and offering him shifts. The claimant's position that he was ready and able to work from at least April 2023 showed number of evidence from the 19th of April that he's complied with the work checks, he's complied with their onboarding process, but then wasn't offered any shifts. There was then an attempt in December by the organisation to withdraw the offer, but that never formally was recognised. No process it's been followed. We then fast forward a year to April 2024, where the claimant hasn't worked at all. At that time, he was then able to obtain work elsewhere, but by actually April, and then in April 24, after a period of work, returned to India on the grounds of ill health. He brings a claim in the tribunal on the basis of an unlawful deduction of wages and other claims connected to failure to provide an employment contract. The tribunal then makes a finding that, and the arguments here really were, does the certificate of sponsorship amount to an offer and a contract? The company argues it doesn't. And there was a certificate of sponsorship, but there was actually no contract that was ever started. So there was no obligation to offer work. Claimant's position that he was ready and able to work, he made himself available with work, he complied with the pre-work checks, and that the certificate of sponsorship and the 40 hours was a contract that then the company did not fulfill. And therefore, by not terminating the contract, not withdrawing that the respondent was liable for what was found to be a year's salary from that April 23 to an April 24 date. Relatively low earners review said, so we would finding unpaid wages, £20,000, £4,000 uplift for failing to follow any process, some holiday pay, and an award for failure to provide a contract. So key legal findings for us, and I'm really eager to get your views on the visa point, is that critically, this was a contractual offer amounting to 40 hours a week. The individual was ready and able to do that, and therefore there's been an unlawful deduction by failing to provide the shifts and alternatively pay the employee. So a few things. I'll get your opinions on the visa. From purely an employment law perspective, we've had these cases before with 0 hours employees, conditional offers. We've talked previously, and how critical it is for the listeners of the podcast to understand what you are offering and what format that is, and to be really clear about contractual hours and where someone is not being offered those contractual hours, that you'll be liable. Your views, Nils, on the visa and the certificate of sponsorship in particular.
I mean, you've got to say that it's a genuine vacancy.
Yeah.
As part of Sam's, I obviously don't know the minutiae of the case, but how can that be? He's not worked at all. It seems a very strange set of circumstances to sponsor someone.
Someone and then in a month not have any work for them, especially as we both know in care, which seems incredibly unlikely that there would be no work whatsoever when you've gone to the level of sponsoring something. Yeah,
unless there's been a contract lost or something like that. But then it should be, well, here's a process to terminate, and we'll inform UKVI that it's been the employment's been terminated. But for a year, and was that the only person in that organisation? Because that's a very expensive mistake. And the agent, £17,000 as well. So when you add all of that up, that's a huge sum of money.
Yeah, and again, it shows how we've, even since 2023, we've changed, haven't we? In the that case wouldn't exist anymore, where it does seem disproportionate that an agent is being paid £17,000 for an employee who's earning minimum wage, essentially.
Yeah.
And that gives some credence to the government changing the thresholds. But no, real, obviously for the respondent, a real tough lesson here, both legally, but I think we're both on a similar page. Question the logic in offering.
But I think the key legal point is that is an offer of employment.
Yeah.
And that is a fairly early part of the process. So from that part onwards, I mean, what happened, for example, if you don't follow through with the visa?
Yeah.
And it might be that it's the individual who can't afford to pay for the visa, but what if the company runs into rocky waters? Yeah. But it's back here that you're creating the contractual relationship. So that's a very interesting case.
Yeah. So always one we'll keep, obviously listen. Bit of out the office seminar this week in Darlington, our second seminar in Darlington on flexible working. So I'm really interested and eager to get up to Darlington again. Flexible working. So all details as always on the website with the seminar programs, working really hard, both from a regulatory and employment law perspective. Yeah. Some more events for next year. And obviously listeners keep an eye out for those events on the website and in the Monday Morning Dispatch. So it should be a good one.
Yeah, I think we're going to do a mock trial in Darlington as well next year. So I'm really excited to do that. Yeah.
So as always, details of all of this will be in the description on YouTube. Please subscribe both on YouTube to the Monday Morning Dispatch and the podcast in general. We will be back next week. I'm expecting some more legal updates very shortly for things coming in force in October, and there's loads happening in the world of regulatory.
Yep.
So it's goodbye from me.
Ray, thank you.